Namaskaram, friends and enthusiasts from around the world. Welcome to another edition of Indian Octaves program, which brings the best of Indian artists to United States and the rest of the world. Indian Octaves is an organization devoted to Indian traditional art form and cross-cultural fusion in USA through a variety of means such as workshops, leg dems, concerts, contests, etc. I'm one of two guests who will be doing our best to provide you with some really outstanding material in the field of music, percussion, and also we'll talk about other aspects. And we are very fortunate to have a really an amazing, legendary musician who also happens to be living very close to my home in Denton, Texas, by name Poovalur Srinivasan, also known as Sriji. So we're going to spend the next about an hour to an hour and a half discussing music with the expert. Very briefly, I'm a professor of finance in the School of Business at the University of North Texas for the last 40 years. I learned Mridangam in Chennai under the direction of Sriji Raghavan for a few years. And later in my 2-year stint in Singapore from Chennai Deenadayalan at the Singapore Indian Fine Arts. And then back in USA in Denton, I had the good fortune of going to Poovalur Sriji off and on for specific lessons and learn from him. So I had a variety of gurus who have taught me so much. And with that, I was fortunate enough to be able to play for a variety of programs within the US, for dance arangetrams, for programs from the Global Rhythms Ensemble of Miami University, Ohio, and also for many local programs organized by Mrs. Lalita Seshadri, the founder of Indian Fine Arts Association in Dallas, mostly classical Carnatic programs. So for me, it's really an honor to be part of this wonderful occasion. So I am now going to take a few minutes to talk about my co-host, a very distinguished Vidwan, A-grade artist. And everybody knows about him, so there isn't, I don't have to go deep into it. He is none other than Vidwan Erode Nagaraj. He is a prime senior disciple of Sangeeta Kalaniti Padma Vibhushan Dr. Umayalpuram Shivaraman. And he had his initial training from Palladam Sri V. Ramachandran sir. He's a A-grade artist, as I said, from All India Radio, having accompanied some of the finest and the best artists in India. He served as a lecturer in the Music Academy in the Tanjavur Vaidyanath Iyer School of Percussion for 18 years. And he actually has done a lot more than just playing Mridangam. He has done a lot of workshops and seminars on Mridangam for students of singers, dance artists, Western drummers from all over the world, from Auckland, New Zealand, all the way through Lagos, Nigeria to New York City, US. Truly a global musician. He is a composer for many musical items to honor Sri Mahapriyava. You can see his picture behind him right there, the great Mahapriyava. He also translated the very well-known bhajan, Maitri and Bhajata in Tamil, which has been widely performed by eminent musicians in India. He's also a very, very avid lyricist who has written Sahitya for the famous English Note, which was presented in Krishnagana Sabha by none other than Dr. Umayalpuram Shivaraman, along with Priya Murali and dancer Roja Kannan. He is also very active on the social media, Twitter, Facebook, and also does a blog where he voices for the disabled, which is a very important cause, and rights of the disabled besides arts, culture, and travel. So it's an honor and privilege to have a Vidwan of this caliber to be part of this program. Very, very privileged. So now finally we get to talk about Poovalur Sriji. I'm going to do a non-traditional type of an discussion in terms of describing his background and what training. And so I'm going to talk about him and some of the other things that he is so good at that people may not know, because you go to Wikipedia and there's a bunch of things that everybody knows about. So my history with Poovalur Sriji has many dimensions. My nephew from Delhi, he learned mridangam from Poovalur's father. Actually, he was learning from his father before Poovalur himself was, born. So right there it started. Later on, Sriji collaborated with my brother-in-law, Srinivas Krishnan, with the Global Rhythms Ensemble of Miami University and other organizations, and they performed in many programs within the United States. And then Poovalur Sriji moved to California and taught at many universities, and finally very fortunate that he moved to the University of North Texas, where I teach. And so once he moved here, we got in touch, and then I started going for some classes with him. And later on, several years back, I was very fortunate to have Sriji play mridangam for our son Arjun's Carnatic vocal arangetram in Dallas. It was just absolutely magnanimous of him to have done so, and he just an amazing job during the arangetram. So those are some basic backgrounds. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about his work in UNT, the University of North Texas, which is a very highly regarded school of music, from which the likes of Nora Jones, who is Ravi Shankar's daughter, multiple Grammy-winning artist, Don Henley of the Eagles, Pat Boone, a well-known singer. From that school, he teaches Indian percussion and Indian music to students in the School of Music. He also runs the Indian Ensemble, which is part of the Global Rhythms program there, and teaches them and interacts with and works with drummers from Africa, Afro-Cuban artists, Western drummers, the Gamelan percussion ensemble of Bali, Indonesia, as well as South and North Indian musicians who come and perform there. Truly a global musician indeed. Now those are having to do with his career. So now I'm going to give you some tidbits that you don't find online, which is what makes him very interesting. I've had many chances to go to his house, learn music, and I found out that he's an amazing, high caliber chef. His food is just absolutely very authentic Indian food. I got to taste it. I go there for lessons. I end up eating a lot of food there. Besides that, I've had many occasions to go to him for having problems with my variety of instruments that are not working properly. He would repair them in no time. I had an instrument from the northern India called the Kol, and it was not sounding properly, and he fixed it. And he also has an immense knowledge of hardware and software with respect to music and sound system. It is so thorough that he was commissioned, and he did an amazing job setting up the entire sound system for the well-known Hanuman Temple in Frisco, Texas. And that auditorium does so many concerts. We can all thank him for putting a beautiful sound system there. So cooking, being an expert on technology, and I have seen him in his house fix any plumbing problem, electrical work. He can build a whole house. He's that good of a handyman, which is just an amazing thing. I call a repair person for every little problem that I have. He has an amazing green thumb. His backyard garden of vegetables is just absolutely fantastic. So there are so many aspects to his life that are make him a very, very amazing personality to deal with, that when you go to him, you learn so much. And he's also very humble, very large-hearted, always willing to help and teach you any time of the day or night. And so it's just a privilege to have known him and gotten to deal with him over the last 20 plus years in Denton. So, it's an honor for me to be here sitting in this particular stage. I would like to also request that because he has done so much work that it's hard to really cover all that he has done in the short time we have. Please go to Poovalur Sriji channel on YouTube, where he has uploaded many of his international global programs, so you get to see some of his other activities. So that's just a short introduction about what I know about Sriji outside of his talent in working. So I'm now going to let Sriji come in, and then he's going to start with a piece, play a lesson composed by his father, which and his and father's guru was none other than Palani Subramani Pillai. So I'm going to bring in Sriji, and he's going to be starting off with the piece that was composed by his father, who was a senior mridangam artist at that stage. So we are waiting. Yes, we are ready to go. He's ready to go. So that was a piece, and now Sriji will be discussing some aspects of the piece, and we'll start with that.
Namaskaram, Chandy sir. Namaskaram, Erode Nagaraj sir. And this particular lesson I played is based on one Ganesha lesson. And my father first taught this lesson to the legendary Sriji Shankaran. And when his guru, Palani Subramani Pillai, heard this, he really fell in love with that lesson, and he would practice this lesson with so many times. And it has like a lot of very interesting fingering with the mulu chapu, and then the characteristic of Palani Subramania Pillai's dum, which always includes the tum and dum together. Like even when he played the Tachik Dunnam lesson, he played. He never played the dum alone, adding the din. So dodogata tatta dinna, dodogata tatta dinna, tatta dinna. So this kind of a very interesting tonal aspect, which was a characteristics, and I was very fortunate to be in the right place to hear even Sriji Shankaran sir play this lesson so beautifully many times. And of course, this is not a concept material, it is a practice material. That's the story about this lesson I started with.
That was very, very wonderful, and the prayogam of that Dindingita is like that is one very special thing in this. Also, when Paini and I used to play the there is also this double thing with thum and one with like that. It is really, really like it will attract like everyone, even the layman. It was so wonderful, and you wonderfully played that.
So again, I'm going to request Nagaraj sir to keep coming in all the time, because he is truly the legend here. one of the when we are talking about discussion issues topics, the next thing that sort of when we are talking about guru and guru parampara and dealing with his father's teachers, that aspect of that and how that translated into his own training, I was wondering if you could elaborate, Sriji.
See, when my father first learned from Mailatur Swami Iyer, that was his guru at Annamalai University. So my father was enrolled for the Sangeeta Bhushanam course in Annamalai University. And at the time, Tiger Vardacharya was the principal for the Annamalai University Music School. In those days, my father was the very first one to major in Mridangam. So my father's contemporaries who studied at the time includes many amazing star walls like B.V. Raman, B.V. Lakshmanan, Pudukode Krishnamurti, Salem Desigan, of course the famous film playback singer T.M. Soundarajan, Sigari Govindarajan. So many great star walls were from that Annamalai University at the time frame. One of my father's closest friend, whose centenary happened this year, is Veena Pichumani Iyer. And so this is the kind of the batch Annamalai University produced. The main reason was Tiger Vardacharya, as soon as a student graduated, he did not leave them alone there. He made sure he connected each and every student with a each and every student with a each and every student with one guru where they can go after. So my father ended up going to Parini Subramanya Pillai because of Tiger Vardacharya. And because Tiger Vardacharya referred to Parini Subramanya Pillai, he took my father in his hands. Same way, for S. Ramanathan, he sent him to Sankara Shivam. So he figured out where they live, and then Tiger Vardacharya will connect the student to that. Because he always said your graduation is not enough. You have to be with a guru and then be with them, and then only you can develop. And the lucky thing for my father was when he went to Parini Subramanya Pillai, now the echo stopped. His neighbor was Alathur brothers. So Alathur Venkatesh Iyer took a special interest on my father, and he taught a lot for my father. And my father played many concerts with Alathur Venkatesh Iyer harmonium. Alathur Venkatesh Iyer harmonium, H. Ramachandra Sastrigal flute, and my father will be the mridangam. So that was his very young career. He got like so much opportunities to see Alathur brothers, how they trained, how they learned. And also the Poovalur, the village where I am from, is just like a few kilometers away from the main, I can call it a town, Lalgudi. So at the time, Lalgudi Gopal Iyer, the legendary Lalgudi Jayaraman's father, he also embraced my father, and my father would go play every week for their bhajan. They will have a bhajan in their house. So my father was kind of instrumental in bridging Lalgudi Jayaraman sir with the great Guru Payani Subramanya Pillai. And in fact, in his book, Lalgudi has mentioned that like how my father took a step to introduce Lalgudi to Payani Subramanya Pillai, which happened to be like one of his very career boosting scenario. So here my father always insisted playing for bhajan is very, very important. Like bhajan means the real like a sampradaya bhajan. So when I trained, I have to thank some people, like most importantly, Chittur Gopalakrishnan. Their house will have every Friday, they will have a bhajan. And then till I came to America, I attended those bhajan without, um, you know, without fail. And then I would like there are so many other artists would come, like Palakkad Kunjumani Ayyar, and he has given me some tips on how to play. And that's such an experience for me to be part of that Friday bhajan group, which kind of goes generation. My father did with Lalgudi Gopal Iyer, and then he knew the importance of that. So he put me with in Chittur Gopalakrishnan house, who was his colleague in All India Radio in Chennai. And the other guru, my father's guru, Mailatru Swami Iyer, my father was kind of like his son. And my father also was instrumental is in son Mailatru Ramachandran getting an All India Radio job. So Mailatru Ramachandran and my father were together in Pondicherry All India Radio. So he had this relationship with his both his guru, and it is even though he left Annamalai University for many years, till 1974 or 72, I remember I was 11, 12 years old when Swami had passed away. My father was in consistent touch with him, and every time when he come to Trichy from Delhi, he will stop and go see his guru and come back. That is a kind of amazing relationship he had with his guru. You are muted, Chandy.
So, Anna,
So,
I want to ask you, like, how do you perceive your father's teaching approach towards you, his son, and other sishyas? Was he like even more stern and strict with you? Because when the guru sishya relationship comes, then every other form of relationship takes a backseat. So, how was your learning experience from your father, and how was he monitoring your progress and making you practice and all that?
My father did not know anything. Like, when we come to America, we see like a father son relationship going to fishing or baseball game. And I never went with my father anywhere other than the concerts. And secondly, he never bothered anything. He does not even know what standard I am studying, what I am doing. He worried only about my mridangam. Everything was taken care of my mother. So basically, our relationship, I never spoke to him much uh, till he fell sick. Till before that point, he will come, then I will go away. So we never interacted or talked or anything like that. Anything we talked, it was only music related. We never talked anything beyond music. But I didn't feel weird at that point because there is no standard definition for how a father has to be. So I thought this is the way how a father would be. So it was okay. But well, maybe I could have talked a little bit more with him. I did not. You could have talked more with me. It is a relationship. Is truly like a guru shishya relationship, but I am in the house. That is the only difference. And also at this point, my father let me also freely learn from so many other artists. Like, I have gone to Murugu Bobiji sir and played, and he has corrected my fingering to get a good sound nadam. For with the Palakkad Kunjumani sir to play all the patterns for bhajans and stuff. And then another great artist, Palakkad Ramachandra Iyer, is one of the amazing mridangist who is the brother of the great Gadam Vidwan Palakkad Sundaram. And he would come to our house, and then it will be like he will come around like 1 a.m. in the morning. So from 1 a.m. to 5, 6, whenever he's kind of like he become like a more like a renounced sannyasi. So he did not have a family, he used to live in a cave in Tirupati, and he will just pop up. Whenever he comes, and then you will never know when he comes and when he goes. But it was a great opportunity to hear him like tell like a lot of ideas. And so my father created an environment for me to uh, you know soak music with so many different sources. And another important thing was like my home in Chennai, every day evening from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. is a meeting point for a lot of composers. The great composer M.Y. Kama Sastry, who used to be the Vadyavranda conductor, he will come to my home around 3:30 after the Vadyavranda is finished, and he will stay there. And my father, they will be talking about the composition, what they were doing that day. And then the great playback singer P.B. Srinivas, he will drop in like around 5:36 with a big packet of mixer and so many things, because he will go to his woodlands, and then he'll go to Shanti Vigar, and then he will buy in the Poonam, he will buy the mixer and come to my home. And then I had a great thing to talk to another composer, T.R. Papa, and he will also come to my home. And Imani Shankar Shastri, a great Veena player, he will come and stay in our house. So this environment, so I won't like talk to them directly. I'll be sitting there. It's a small house, like maybe 350 square feet. You cannot escape anywhere. You don't have your room of your own. So you are compulsorily engaged in their conversation, and their conversation was always about music, and they never talked anything about anybody else. They go like a PB Srinivas will come say, "Hey, I went to the studio today, this music director did this composition like this." All these little ideas which become a foundation for me and give me the confidence of me able to compose.
Thank you, sir. Logically moving into the similar area of discussion, it just so happened in today's Hindu, I saw that there is an article with an interview with Hariprasad Chaurasia, this legendary flute player. And they have in the North Indian system something called Gharana, which is our Bani, our style. Like you have Tanjavur and Pudukkottai Bani, etc. for playing Mridangam. They have Punjabi Gharana and things like for playing tabla and others. And his comment was, Gharana doesn't matter if the artist knows what he is doing. What Gharana is nothing critical. So can you please sort of maybe even show a little bit of the difference between some of the major Banis and your own view on the Bani system?
See, the Bani system, in my opinion, it is a identity crisis. When you are very good, you are not going to be worried about what Gharana I am. You don't need that. Like Shivaraman sir does not need to tell what Gharana he belongs or what style he belongs. He has his own style. That's what we all follow. If you take me, I'm like, though I can relate myself as a parental line to Paini Subramanya Pillai, what I play is an influence of next generation of musician. Like if I listen to Patti Vidavaradu, if I have to play accompany that, I cannot take the Shivaraman inside me, because I have heard him play so amazing. And that is always going to be there. Maharubalka Tirchi Shankaran will be there. And so all this, Lalgudi Stillana, how can I forget Karagudi Mani sir and play that? Because if I play anything else, it won't fit. It will look like it won't fit. So where is this thing? So we are like a mixed. And then after that, and for me coming to the West, I was able to listen to world music, and then I made some changes in approach of what I play. Like for instance, when I came to before I came to America, I'll be like playing really very aggressive or whatever you can think about that. It is always me in the front. But after I started playing gamelan, I go like, what is my role when I play a mridangam? I should not be visible. The music should be visible. So those kind of certain aspect made me change certain approaches and everything like that. Though the foundations are same, it is the approach what it changes. So for me, like, okay, I can say I am from Pudukkottai school because my father's teacher was Payani Subramanya Pillai. I can say I am from Tanjavur school was Mailatru Sami here is from Tanjavur school. So it is basically what is Pudukkottai and Tanjavur school is like a one based on finger, like a phrasings, fingering developed through the Chanda music. Other one comes from Pudukkottai school, comes from Tavul players. So it is the one of the very interesting concept, because if you really look at the Pudukkottai school, it will end up in Tavul players. The other way around, it will all end up in Kerala, Tanjavur school. So it is the two different what you call the traditional style. Like without like so many tawul players, we won't have that many material. They are the one who developed so many material. Like a pioneer's father Muttaya Pillai is a tawul player, and so all these influences come from this kind of instrumental family. And as far as this generation concerned, it is all like blended into one. We cannot like stick to some one way of doing it. I even listen to some younger generation players, and then I go like, oh, this is very nice. Okay, if you like it, take it. That is my opinion. So I'm technically I can call myself to any school I want or any gharana I want, but for me, I'm a mixed bag.
Thank you, sir. So, moving on, I know I'm going to digress a little bit from what we had sort of talked about earlier. What fascinated me is some of the things that you had done in the double mridangam aspect. That you had played so many people with Sriji Shankaran Guruvayurai in the last few years with Patri Satish Kumar. You played together. And so, can you sort of elaborate a little bit about the double mridangam concept and how
It
do
is,
you train
see,
for that?
my very first concert itself was a double Murtangam concert with my father. I played a lot of concert with my father, with Emini Shankar Shastri, and then with Don Pichumani here. I have played so many concerts initially with my father, and then without my father also. So it is like you have to understand your role, particularly when I played with Tirchi Shankaran. My role is just only to make sure that I don't cut his flow of thought. He's the mridangist. I'm with him. So I just like go along with it. So without disturbing his thing, and then it is basically a gadam player's role or this one. When I played with Guruvayur Thorai sir with few many concerts with at the time, he was also going through some of the very critical stages with some losses and stuff. So at the time, I'm just there to be there with him. And if he wants me to play, I will play. Otherwise, I'll just sit in the stage with him, just helping him. But for me personally, I have played with my very good friend, and my brother. I call him Thiruvarur Bhaktavatsalam, and that is another experience. His way of playing and my way of playing is very differed, but it is again, is my senior and elder, so I just go along with the flow of what he does. So I have to change few things to just fit in that realm. But for me, playing with Patri Satish Kumar is a great innovative experience, because he himself is an innovative artist. And when we played there, we tried like so many different, each and every concept was very different. There was no like the standard format is to be different. What difference it is, one concert he will start, other concert I will start. We don't had any like, okay, I have to start like who is the big, but we talked only about music. Hey, can we do this, can we do this? And that is whenever he came from the very first tour with Shashank, he always came and stayed with us in our home. And we always, Patriji, namaste. We always had this, what you call, the great innovative thing. Always thought about that. We will go for a long walk, and in the walk we'll just talk about how to do this. Can we play this? Can we do this? So this is the kind of like a very brilliant brain I was very fortunate to work with. And that was like a really pleasant experience. And we have done broken few barriers as two mridangams. And really, I'm looking forward soon someday, if everything goes well, to continue that.
So we have Patri just showed up. We wanted to make it a surprise for you. That's why I sort of timed it so that he I think
Perfect,
he just
perfect.
came and he was just wanting to say hello, and he wanted to wish you all the best when he's enjoying the program. And he just we had sort of, yeah, there he is. We can there is Patriji. And so if I don't know if Patri is able to get on the screen and say anything, but he wanted to come in and just say, wish you all the best, and he's enjoying
Thank
the
you,
show.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, he's such a now this generation we are is pretty lucky to have a player like him, and Mridangam sound, microphones. There are so many things we have discussed, and he had this innovativeness in him, and so that kind of my mindset also. So there is a kind of parallel thing that happened, and really I have to thank our friend Subramaniam, Shashank's father. Actually, I remembered like but there was a recording Shashank's father did with Patriji playing in music academy for Shashank. And he will call in weird hours, like 2 a.m. in the morning. He called me. I was like half asleep, and then he said, "Hey, Poovalur, listen to this. Mridangam, what do you think?" I'm like half asleep. I said, "Subramanian ji, ella nalla irukku. Okay, it's all good. I will talk to you tomorrow." He said, "No, no, no, no. You have to listen to that." Then he put me. I was sitting on the phone listening to that recording, and it was very nice. And then I don't know who it is. And then he told me, "No, this is like a amazing mridangam player we found in Vijayawada, and he's playing amazing." And then when he came to US that trip, and that is a time in my house, that's where all like CDs will come. All Shashank CDs will be mailed to my home, and then I had that recording. Actually, exactly then at the time I went to Toronto to be with Trichy Shankaran sir. Then I played Patri's Mridangam to him. Say, this is like a Mridangam player. You have to listen to him. It was just like a that kind of an immediate first time listening. You just fall in love with some playing.
Uh,
Hello
so
to
go ahead. Is there?
hello
Uh,
ji, namaskaram to everybody. And
Namaste, Patrick.
Sriji, namaskaram, namaskaram
Namaskaram.
Nagaraj.
Namaskaram. We were talking about you.
It's great pleasure seeing you any day, any time.
Thank you,
And
thank you. Welcome back. The Denton is waiting for you, and our long walks are waiting for us.
yes, yes. And I mean, Chandy sir, Nagaraj sir, one thing I want to express. I mean, a true global musician who has the ability to fit in any form of music and make his own mark. If someone is there, it is just one and only Sriji that I have come across, because the openness
True.
that he has and the his attitude towards the friendly nature in understanding other musical concepts, and also what a great human being he is, and he always we look forward to meeting him any day.
Yes.
I mean, for so many surprises. I mean, he's a man of literally, I mean, a man of taste and a man of time and taste. I mean, it's very surprising to, I mean, to have a friend like Sriji in one's life. It's very, very happy, and I'm so blessed, uh, really, with the blessing of all gurus and elders, to have a friend like Sriji. It's very, I mean, it's a, I mean, whenever we think of him, and not just me, any every musician friend who likes him will can never. I mean, we always miss him being in Chennai, but we are there with you, Sriji, and we always cherish all the. I mean, every moment may it be the music, food, or walk, or any thought. Every thought that we tried. I mean, whenever I say something, you always add something, and it always grows like a flower. I mean, we always cherish that, and thank you very much, especially to Indian Octaves for bringing Sriji into this, and very much looking forward to hear more from him. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sriji, Satish ji. Uh, so that was a nice surprise. We were really wanting to hide that surprise from you. So that double mridangam idea was not part of that discussion. We brought it in to incorporate that. So moving on with our topics we had discussed again, Nagaraj sir, please don't let me take over. You are welcome to any time interrupt. So I'm just trying to sort of keep this flow going, and we can anytime
Please,
keep projecting.
please
So
carry on. It's going really well. Going good.
okay, so the next item was the concept of Shruti or pitch. So the Shruti Nadam, being able to have this the ear really good ear training, it's something that some people automatically have it, and even a slight variation in Shruti when they are singing or playing, they know this is something that needs to be quickly adjusted. Otherwise, I'm going off Shruti. How do you develop that that aspect of your training, and then moving on to, while you incorporate all of these things and other aspects of Indian music system, tala system, and teach them to your students at CalArts, San Diego State, UNT, and which is a totally different Western aspect of drumming, etc., involved. How do you do that, and can you show us an example of something that you have done over the period of time, and a clipping of what you have done so far?
Sure. Shruti is, for me, I was very fortunate, Trichy Shankaran being my uncle, be with him every December. From I was like a fifth grade or sixth grade. Every December he will come from Canada, and then the moment he arrives, I will go to his house and then send him off in the airport and come back home. So my house, I will be there. uh, he's like a very meticulous in tuning the mridangam, how we asked to keep the mridangam looking. So in the December month, basically he is locked in for that purpose. He does not go anywhere. He does not do anything. It's all about the concept. I think same thing with Sivaraman sir, because they were neighbors. So I have to pass through Sivaraman sir's house to go to Tirchi Shankaran's house. So they both, you can hear him also, like in the morning 6 o'clock, you can hear him like working on his mridangam, or getting ready for the concert. I mean, they are legends. They can just show up in the concert, right? But the mridangam, how much to tighten up the straps, how much to keep that, and meet to chop is another big thing in those days. Nowadays with screw mridangam, it's kind of, you can get away with that. But when you add that mridangam with the old like a strap system, the num and din won't match. Then you have to know how much to remove, or add the karanai in the middle of the mridangam, how much to remove. So these things comes from observing. And when I talk to Tichi Shankaran, he will mention how meticulous Payani Subramania Pillai will be for his mridangam. And there is a very interesting story. Once Palakkad Mani here, another great legend, he had one of the great mridangam repair person. His name is Parlande. His name is Fernandez, but in Tamil it becomes Parlande. And at that time, Payani Subramania Pillai wanted to fix one of his mridangam through Parlande, but unfortunately, since he's been salaried with Palakkad Mani here, and some or other, he told my father, and my father took the mridangam and gave it to Parlande for repair. And this story was again told by Parlande's son Rajamanikam. And then Payani Subramania Pillai had this. Then there is one concert where Payani and Payani Subramania Pillai and Palakkad Mani are playing next to each other or something, and he found his left hand side to be so wonderful. And so he asked Parlande, என்ன நீ வந்து பழனிக்கு மட்டும் ஸ்பெஷலா ஏதாவது பண்றியா? you know and he was like, no, எல்லாருக்கும் நான் ஒன்னாதான் பண்றேன், வாசிக்கிறதுல இருக்கு. It's like that, even to that the great legend like that. So it is their tuning. Like I have gone to actually one of our common friends, or one of our mentors, Ella Venkateshwar Ravji. Whenever he came to Chennai, he will come to our house. I will go with him to Palakkad Mani's house, because that is his guru's guru. So he will go there every time he comes. And Palakkad Mani will be sitting there and keeping all the small chits and everything on the mridangam. so that mridanga repairer has to come like every day morning. He has to come and he will have some work to do for that mridanga. So this comes from the how much you maintain your mridangam. That is number one important thing. So coming to America is another big issue, because for me coming to America, I have no mridangam person available for me. So I have to make everything on my own. I tried putting the black spot. In 1986, 87, it is very rare to go to India. 2-3 years once you will go there, right? So the meat to chapu, how to manage that? So you develop a sense of great shruti. That is important concept. So when I play a chapu, that is my muru chapu. Though you can't see that mridangam, maybe I will switch the mridangam and show a little bit of that. Okay, so now I'm playing the muru chapu. Sorry, are chapu, and then I play the muru chapu. I play the din. So you have to exactly know what is the harmonic. You see, when you play hit the mridangam, there are so many harmonic waves are made, and you have to be able to know the pitch of that. So initially, when you play at a so even in your playing, sometimes the pitches may go up and down. So you have to know exactly when you play a concert how much balance to play a phrase, so that you are along you match with the shruti. So that is like, then you have this nam. In this mridangam, I have a meet to chapu difference. So my nam is higher than the din. It is a very little. And but the thing is, when its num is higher, sometimes if it is lower, it will show up. When it is higher, it won't show up. And since it's a strap mridangam, if it is a nut screw mridangam, the difference you can manage it by certain ways. It kind of, you can do that now. Because this mridangam was, one day I have to play for pitch F, so I can see that black spot here. I have removed a little bit. So now I have no way of putting a new one there. So when I brought it to E, the difference is going to be here. Then when I play a concert, instead of playing num here, I will play here. So it won't show up. If I go like my num here, the difference will show up. So then once you train the ears, then you will not then you will know how to adjust in each and every mridangam and play for that particular pitch. So that is one important concept as far as the pitch is concerned. Hearing the sound, tonality, and harmonics. And some people sometimes use all the gadgets, but that won't work for mridangam, because when you play a chapu, it has so many different harmonics it makes. And then most important thing is like how much pressure you give with this finger. So like Patriji, you will put this finger like Payani Subramania Pillai. I will put this finger like Palakatmani. So just like a big difference in playing nums and dins. And then how much pressure you put, the more pressure, less pressure, all these things are there. But once you develop the sense of shruti, then you will know how to adjust your fingering to a given concert day. The mridangam will be here and there. Then you will know what are the phrases to play, what are the phrases not to play. And next thing for me, playing in films when I was in India. That was like I was in playing in with many music directors like L. Vaidyanathan, Rajan Nagendra, and Chakravarti, And when I played with them in the film industry, you have to be very, very, your fingering has to be clean. Otherwise because it will be magnified so many times in a big screen. So there are only like Madurai T. Srinivasan sir is like one of the greatest legend in playing for in the movie industry. So he has taught me. He was also my father's colleague in All India Radio. So he taught me how to tune when you are in a studio, in a film studio, because I cannot go there and find the meter chapu and start tuning it, and because some producer is playing money. And if you are going to take like more than 10 seconds to tune your mridangam, next time they won't call you. So you have to be in that field, means you have to know how quickly to because they will go like music director will go for a re-recording. You will go like, okay, now this particular scene I need the mridangam. So I have only few seconds to tune and get ready and play. And same thing, Madurai T. Srinivasan sir, and then I have to thank also another great tabla player, Lakshman Rao, who is like amazing tabla player. If you listen to any film song in those days, all tabla was played by Lakshman Rao. And also he was a neighbor to Chitti Babu. And Lakshman Rao is given, because he will also play Pakawaj in movies. So he has given me some tips how to do like a mulu chapu and tune it quickly, and hitting the opposite sides, and so little techniques like that. So it is a developing. I developed so many things because I was in the right place to in the right thing. But it all came from observation, and then having right people tell you right thing, and then you respect them, and then you work on that, and then you will get better. That is what it is all about, tuning. And now, since we've talked a lot, you asked me about like what I do in the sense. See, one of the important thing when I came to San Diego State first to teach, my concept was to. I thought like I'm going to teach a Westerner mridangam like I learned from my father or something, that scenario. But within, like, even if they stay 3 years with you in a college environment, they may get a lesson probably once a week or 2 times a week, depending upon what they are majoring in. And I had some students who can decently play, but then I realized, like, then I have spent a lot of time, like, giving my private time, like, working with them during summer breaks and taking them to India with me, and have singers come and practice with them. But later what happens is, once they go out of the college, they have to make a living. So they are not going to, even I'm not getting a mridangam gig. Where is he going to get a mridangam gig? So that is the problem with like a mridangam. And also the mridangam instrument is with a tuning and specific pitch, and it is very limited in what you can do. In terms of how you can make a living out of it, it's only if you love the instrument for your own self, you can learn it. But when I found that when the reason why most of the drummers, they wanted to learn mridangam, because they wanted to know how to play this pattern in their instrument. So that was one of the revealing thing for me when I came to California Institute of Art. So when I was in San Diego State, I was just very disciplined, like only teaching. Then I found, like, 4 years after, I'm not able to produce a student who can play brilliantly mridangam. And once I came to Cal Arts, then I got an opportunity to teach a few students the mridangam phrases in their own instrument. That kind of clicked. I said, you know what, if you love mridangam, I will teach you. But if you're learning mridangam to know the Indian concept, don't waste your time playing mridangam, and don't waste my time also. So that way you can learn all that. So I started developing a lesson patterns for drum set players, lesson pattern for any instrument what they have. If they're the bass players, how to do it, like a vamp on the raga and stuff like that, and then how to experiment these things. So that is where my composition skill, what I talked about, all the legends like Kama Shastri, TR Papa, all these people, and that came into, hey, why don't write something? Because I also played in Vadya Vranda for a few times, so I have seen the composition process, how it happens in Chennai Vadya Vranda, and I played there. So I applied that technique, started writing my own composition so that students can play. Okay. So now what I will do is, just like to give an example, now I will play a medley of stuff what I did, because it's all like longer pieces. I will start with initially first time when I did. So actually many artists, even including Tirchi Shankaran sir, he came and played as a guest artist for my piece, for my writing. So that is a great honor for me. That gives me that great encouragement. I will go from there, and then I will just like see how I like Mishra Chapu. Then you will see one student play a Mishra Chapu, like a Farans, as a part of intro for a piece. And then there is another concert. You will see a small clipping of Patriji playing with my ensemble in 11-beat cycle and unconventional tala. And then how I composed for gamelan, and that is the Indonesian gamelan, because they play only in 8-beat cycle. I made it a 7-beat cycle. And then there is a jegogong, that instrument. I have to make it like a 3-4-4-3 pattern to keep that 7. And then I had Indonesian music. Number 1 will be the last beat. If you have a 8-beat cycle, 8 will be the gong, not the 1. So always 8 will feel like a 1 for us. So in this piece, I used a gong in the 8 and the gong in the 1. So both Indian and traditional Balinese way. And then these things led me, gave me a great opportunity to write a big orchestral piece for the Taipei a Chinese orchestra. So they invited me to write a composition for them. So I wrote a composition for them, and I'm learning about Chinese instruments and what are the range, what to write. It is like another great thing. So I'll just play everything a little bit, and hopefully you will enjoy that. And if you need the whole compositions, it is in my um, um, YouTube page.
Meanwhile, when Anna is getting ready to do this, I want to share even Palghat Maniyar, Ava வந்து Maniyarwal used to ask Sivaram sir, hey Sivaram, it will be a mridangam which is out of tune. So, like a test, he will ask, hey Sivaram, see this. You have to stroke here and there, and within 2, within 4, you have to tune like that. Like how do you do the puzzle in chess game and all that. They give you some position and ask you to mate in 3 moves, mate in 4 moves, second mate, like that. Like that, he used to say, hey Shivaram, rendu tatla shekkanum. Then see, that is where they were so like they were with the music. They treated the instrument as if it is a veena.
It is true. It is true. Okay, now we go to the these compositions and just enjoy this. There is a Sangirna Korapu. The drum set player just he learned only for 1 semester, so he was able to play Sangirna Korapu with Tiruchi Shankaran sir. So that is the kind of quickness how we can go, and then you can see all the skill, how we can extract from the state, then how they understood the Indian music, how they are able to play that. So,
That was wonderful, Anna.
thank you, Ji. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you,
Hmm.
when we interact with North Indian Hindustani music, we call it Jugalbandi, and Western music we call it fusion. And you frequently visit Bali and interact with the musicians, and you play together with them. So, tell us about that, and also tell us what aspects of our music, rhythm and music, they appreciate and they like, and how it works and all that.
See, one of the thing I miss right now is not being in Bali. I have to say that.
Oh,
Me and my friend Jamal Mohammed had been going to Bali for so many years. Despite that, Balinese culture is something amazing. I always tell people you have to go to Bali not to buy things, or you have to know the Balinese people culture, how their Hinduism work, how their music work. In Bali, you want a great instrumental player, just you have to ask your taxi driver. He can play with you, because in if you go check in at a hotel, the receptionist will be a great dancer, and in the she will be a receptionist, and then she will go and dance in the evening in a performance or their temple performances. Every village, everybody will perform some instruments as far as their music. It's their part of their culture and life. So it's not one person in Bali would not know what instrument to play. That is the important concept. And their temple ceremonies will have music, and then it will be like every temple will have so many ceremonies. Every village will have a Brahma temple, Vishnu temple, and Shiva temple, and all these temple will have ceremonies, and in the ceremonies they will play. So, and their people are kind of very soft in nature. Even if they are angry, they will never show up. That is one of their characteristics. And for me, if you listen, when you play Balinese music, it does not, or any Indonesian music for that matter, there is no big soloist, or you won't see like one big name pop up. It is like the whole ensemble playing. It is all their part of it. Everybody is everything. And in fact, in Javanese music, the more and more senior big player you become, you will play a lesser instrument. And there is, to keep like a thala, that's, you have to be like a greatest, you have to know the whole thing. Only in that scenario they will do that. So for me, interacting with Balinese music changed my music, how I approach my accompaniment, how it took out, I would say, like a lot of aggression out of me in a way when I play. And sometimes when I have to pump up a concert, sometimes I have to do the aggression, but that is not naturalistic of me, because it's been so many years I've been away from that. And it is not, when I talk about aggression, it is not question of playing loud and soft. It is about what are the phrases you choose to play, those concepts. And so that music definitely has a influence on me. I always felt like I am like a half Indonesian more than half American. So I'm a Indonesian, kind of, in terms of my internal, how I develop the relationship with those people, being in a village, and the village knows me, and I'm part of their ceremony, performing with with them. So it is a special experience for me, starting from the day I landed in 1986 in San Diego. So that's where first I was hit by one of the greatest Javanese musician, Pachakro, and he lived till 100 years. So he was teaching, and then I was in the gamelan room, like trying to like hit the instrument without knowing what I'm doing. And he came next to me and sat, and then he showed me how to play. He was playing along with me, and only in the evening I know he's the superstar who was he did not think him as a superstar. There was no like a aura around him, or guarding people, or he just like, he saw me doing something. I don't know what to do, so he came and started playing with me. So that is the nature of the thing. So I think I took a lot of that culture from that people, definitely. Yeah. Go ahead, Chandy.
Unmute. So, getting back to some of the topics we talked about, we're
Mhm.
getting nicely in time. Remember that at the beginning of my introduction about you, I talked about your amazing talent in cooking and also in fixing the house, plumbing and electricity. And you mentioned about how that all that can be related to life and lessons through you learn from some of the greatest musicians, and how this is, even though we do it for we're just doing what is needed to make.
See, necessity is the mother of invention, they say. When I came to America, I was in San Diego. I did not know anybody in USA. I didn't have any family, friends, nothing. So I was by myself till I met one of my friends accidentally 4 months. For 4 months, I just had like a Winchell's donut and coffee. I had no other food. Uh, you know, I'm not used to pizza or anything like that because I never had one in India. So that's a difficult scenario. But so I started making something, and then I had my roommates, and then I will make for everybody. Okay. Now, my biggest experience of love to food, like how to cook food with love, I have to is because of the Guru Haridas Giri Swamiji, and he came to LA, and I had some stomach problem that time frame, so I was like going with him playing concert, and then he was like, உனக்கு நான் வந்து ஒரு பூண்டு குழம்பு வைக்கிறேன். And he would not eat garlic. So he made a garlic குழம்பு for me, and he said like, the எல்லாம் இந்த பகவான் நாமா கேட்டுண்டே சமைச்சா நல்லா வரும். So you have to be like, when you cook, what you have to think. That is one of the chapter he always said, and he is an amazing, phenomenal cook than being a Swamiji. So that kind of gave me a little bit of a kind of showed me like, wow, this is like, if he makes it, like, we have to make like that way. And then I was lucky enough at that point of time, the two women I have to thank. One is L Subramaniam's wife, Viji Subramaniam, and she is an amazing cook. And I used to stay in their house, so we will always like cook and talk about it, making North Indian like dum alus, putting holes and all these things. So we'll go to the grocery, buy, come back, so that's like an amazing experience. And Lakshmi Shankar Mami will be there, and she will be talking about all the South Indian things. And my another friend Vasanti Gurunath, who is in whose house I used to stay every night, and she's another phenomenal cook. And then getting involved with them doing it kind of brought, and so I put all these things together, and then I found there is a connection to the music. Actually, there is a one anecdote is there. See, once in Tiruvayaru, Palakkad Maniyar was the secretary, and there were the Tiruvayara used to have a great cook, and they will cook for 10,000 people. And as a secretary, one day he went and tasted something, and he asked that I forget the cook's name. He's like he cooked for so many years, like he was a legend in cooking. And something like Manir ji said like, koncha uppu koncha jastiya irukkற மாதிரி இருக்கே, something, it's like a, and that man, he was so legendary in his field, and he's like, Maniyarwal, நீங்க எல்லா கச்சேரி நீங்க சரியா வாசிச்சிருக்கடா. Maniyar, have you played all your concert? Then he's like, oh mama, correct that, parvailla. And see, in the cooking is the one. In the music I make, when I make a mistake, 80% of the people may not know, but in the cooking, when you make a mistake, everybody will know. So that is a art field wise. Then another thing, Kiva Jagannathan, he has written like a beautiful articles about cooking, and in Kalaimagal it used to come. So I have read those things. So all these things put together kind of bring a passionate thing for me about that. And same thing, my mother is a great gardener, and then when she came to America, being with her, the only time I got to spend with her was by being in the garden. So that she will just take off. Every day she will do the growth and everything like that. So maybe I'm missing my mother. So I do. Now she hasn't come to America for a while. So that is kind of like a gardening is like my mother kind of connection, And the plumbing, my father, that's one of the important things I'll say. Plumbing is like your mridangam practice. The basic lessons you practice well. If your plumbing is not right, your water is not going to come. All the water you enjoy because your plumbing is beautiful, right? So always that is the way how your basic lessons are. The more and more you practice your, actually when Patrikaru did this thing, he talked about how Karataka he can take and do like many different phrases. So the basics lessons are the most important thing. And once you have the basic, that is like a, for me it is like that kind of important. It won't be seen, but the result will come out if it is perfectly. So I try to connect whatever I do with some kind of a music or some kind of a reading I did. So that kind of makes it more interesting for me when I do that.
Very interesting connection between music and life, and so much to learn. Another aspect that we were going to think about, discuss, is career in music, concert tours in US, making a living. Some people get very serious about being a full-time professional musician, whether it's coming to US and trying to make a living, or there are people like uh, Ramakrishnamurthy and Vishal Sapuram from the US who have moved to Chennai, and they are trying to get up and make a living there. What is your experience and tips for young musicians who are trying to do the same thing in terms of making career, getting concert tours, and living that life? What is that like? Because you come up with
Uh,
long years like that.
yeah, I see. When I lived in San Diego and Los Angeles, being in California, that's kind of, I got like a lot of opportunities to play with people like Yehudi Menuhin, and like doing like a lot of film studio recordings with Raikuder when he did like like a the what do you call country western movie like Last Man Standing, and then playing in Salam Bombay. All these opportunities are kind of way of like I can make my life in LA, going like being in this kind of doing some studio works, and then playing like a lot of fusion concerts. And Carnatic music concert wise, it is pretty rare, because I don't get that many concerts. Because see, when I used to live in LA, I used to play in Dallas Sabah quite a lot. And when I came to Dallas, I never played in that Sabah. So same thing in LA. When I was there, I played few concerts, maybe like I know. But when I went to Dallas, I went and played there a few times. It's one of these phenomena, and then it is very hard. In those days, they used to visit like WUSA ticket. So even like one time, like one like I think Ganesh Kumaresh, they wanted to have a concert tour with me, and the organizer was like no, we cannot have him because it will be expensive to have him, because we have to pay a regular fare ticket, so we cannot have him. So we want our only artist from India. So that WUSA ticket took care of my career playing concert tour till like 2000 something like that. Till that, then only it stopped. Then they used to give coupons, and so always traveling musician preferred people coming with them from India than having somebody like me here. And actually, I have to thank again Subramaniam, Shashank's father. He said, Poovalur, you have to do a concert tour. I will do that. I will do some. Then I did few tours with Shashank. Even there, I would have. They will go like, okay, if Poovalur is playing, I won't keep the concert. So then they have to either find a different Marangist for that city, or it's kind of very weird, some kind of political scenario, whatever it is. And then I was then Subramaniam, he got in phone, and then he had arranged a Maladi Brothers concert tour for me to perform with them. And he said like, okay, we are not going to substitute any other place. If they're not going to have, I don't care, I will make sure I'll get in new venues. And he was on phone for like a 2-3 months to get that concert tour going for me. And otherwise, that was a great experience playing with Maladi Brothers, so many concerts. So it is a very interesting scenario how these things work. And but it does not matter, so I cannot like live on that. So but I have to keep moving. But luckily I'm in a city like Denton, I can go out and I play with different musicians. And then for me going to India, I have to again, whenever I go to India, two people like Tiruponithra Radhakrishnan, and he will make sure that I play few concerts in Kerala. And same thing, Mysore Nagaraj Manjunath, they will make sure that I play some concert in Mysore, Karnataka, wherever it is. And then Vittal Ramurthy, another good friend of mine, and he will make sure that I play with. Actually, he's the one who made me gave me an opportunity to play with Balamurali Krishna, all those kind of a scenario, playing in Udupi and actually touring with Shivaraman sir. That was a great experience because of Vittal Ramurthy. I was with him for like 10 days, like touring to different towns with him and going in the plane, and with Shivaraman sir. Magati was a small baby at the time, so she was also with me at the time. So he will all, like his granddaughter, he will spend some time. So I don't regret anything, but definitely playing Carnatic music concerts is pretty less. And I have to, again, in Dallas, after Hanuman temple came, they were so kind to me, and they gave me so many opportunities to play in the Hanuman temple because of Swamiji's blessings. And so I'm contented, but I could have played more concerts, because see, as a, it's just like you have to be on that routine. And for that, the only way how I make up is listening to concert. I will just like think like I will put Ramnath Krishnan concert, take my mridangam, and I will be accompanying for Ramnath Krishnan. That is fine for me. So that is the way how I keep my, what you call, the niches in because now the new younger generation, they are coming up very big. So if I have to one day accompany them, I have to be ready for that. So I have to keep like listening to the, like, okay, now Abhishek Raghuram is singing, okay, what he is singing, whether I will be able to play, oh, he is doing these things, I can do. So it keeps me pretty busy, occupied. And I'm ready at any point of time. And when the opportunity comes, I will be able to jump in and do something what I can do.
So we are sort of coming close to
Yeah.
our 90 minutes. So before we do that, I would like for you, there are so many people listening who are, upcoming is learning Mridangam, doing Arangetram, and then also playing Mridangam for programs. What is some tips you can give them in terms of how to really, from practice to listening to other concerts, to what are some really key things that they should keep doing that really will make them better?
I mean, without listening, and you have to fall in love with listening. And I have driven from San Diego to Sacramento just in car, because in those days you will have cassettes. So I'll put three concerts, go up to Sacramento, and another three concepts coming back listening, because my roommates will be busy, like they're preparing for their doctoral things. And I had at the time Srivatsan, HV Srivatsan, violinist. He used to study in Berkeley at the time. So I will go there, meet with him, and then we will practice that night. We will listen to so many KVM's concert. And so listening is very, very, very important. My father used to take me in bicycles to like a Kadalur from Pondicherry. And the only reason he moved from Delhi to Pondicherry because he thought like it will give me more experience listening to concerts. So that is one thing. Everybody, a second thing is, you cannot ride on your teacher. You have to like I say, for example, I will have probably like 3 lessons in a year from my father, but rest of the year I just practiced what he told me. Practice, practice, practice. And you don't even need a teacher. If you have that much of passion towards your practicing, you will be the best. And the teacher can guide you. Okay, sometimes when we go out of control, it's that they bring you back into your what you need to do, and technical details, like, okay, if you do this, all. But unless otherwise you have a passion to practice and passion to listen, it is impossible to be a musician. It does not matter whether it is Indian or Western or anything. And only who people have that. I have another friend of mine, Dan Weiss, and he's in Facebook. He's the greatest drummer living in New York. And he will, like, when we have played few concerts together, like in Germany and all these places, he will always have a list of concerts he has to listen in the plane. And he will listen to those concerts, and then he will transcribe it, and he can talk about each and every record, LP record, and what they have played, what drummers have played. And so that is the most important thing. You have to first of all find somebody who you like, and you have to pretend to be like them for a while, and then only later you will start to become your own. So that imitative capacity, if I listen to Balakar Raghu sir, I should be able to play at least, I mean, I may not be that great like sounding, at least I should have that, be able to demonstrate what this is, what he play. So that kind of an skill you have to develop. That will then, it will force you to practice. and you have to get that tone. It is not that easy. And if it for his gumki you have to get, then that sound is in your ears. Once you practice, you will become practical about that. So I always tell students, it does not matter what you learn. It is like you can come, you can, it is like a baba black sheep. I can make somebody teach something in mridangam, like within like a 1 month I can make them to play for vata piganabadi, but they have no idea what vata piganabadi means. Listen to Madurai Maniyer vata piganabadi, see how Vellur Rambhadran played. And if you have to understand that, even to that, it needs a lot of sadhana, and it needs a lot of listening. And only when they do that, they will come. All these people we talk about, Ramakrishna Murthy, I know them, they are all from when they're babies, because I was in LA at that time. He will come to all the concerts in and you can even tell which chair he is going to sit from when he was a child. And then all these kids will like sending email in those days, like, hey, this concert, this raga, do you have in this recording, so that group formation is very important. Discuss about music with your own age group people. Here they all talk about, most of them, okay, I bought this, I have this game. But once anybody does that, they will become fantastic. I can tell that. I can, if anybody is great, they would have done these things. So that's the way it works.
Thank you, sir. And if before I do vote of thanks, I want to request if Nagaraj sir, any question, anything you want to add to
Yes,
that before I.
yes. And I wanted to ask about the services and programs that you do through IGMA, the idea for that. And also, I want you to play some nice strokes and a Mora Korvai to have a fitting finale.
Sure. See, IGMA is an organization I started because I needed something to back me up. Like, even if I have to rent a place to do a concert, you cannot go ask somebody. So, but when I started, instead of global music, I wanted to bring like a different type of a platform to make concerts. So I brought like Indonesian musicians. I applied right now. I try to have like a fusion concerts. I have some my friends like Jamal Muhammad. He has come and played in like many concerts in IGMA. So it was like a very unique platform where they can come and listen to appreciate world music. So that was my very first important thing, because that is and then when you have a classical music concert, I just did it for the children, because I will put a stage. I made a stage for this purpose, and then I'll put a like a little sitting place to see close by sit that, because I heard Palakkad Manier play like that. That Kitataka and that Dum, what I heard from him never went out of my ears, because I was that close when I listened to him, and the power of that. So I wanted them to experience that. So I try to do that. Right now, with all these things, what is happening, I don't know when everything will be normalized. And then I kept all the concert free, just like expecting donation. And then I'm not a great what you call crier for money in this situation. So whatever they gave, like some concert I had only like $2 I have collected outside. So, but I would have spent like the auditorium and everything, probably $1,000 or something out of my pocket. And then at some point of time, I'm like, okay, I don't want to force people to charge. But it is something like introducing world music was my most important concept of IGMA. But anyway, so I do a IGMA program in Bali. So I get students from Taiwan, China, different countries. They come there, and we have like a 3 weeks program, learning all this kind of stuff like Indian, Indonesian, and culture of Balinese people. So that was my that is where it stands right now. And anyway, since you asked for, since we are running out of time, we are like already 9 minutes more. I just wanted to play. You asked me like one very important thing about what the great masters means.
Sriji, I'll just give you a vote of thanks so you can
Sure, Ji.
continue.
Sure.
We want to, again, we are coming to, as we said, we could use another 3 hours and we still won't be satisfied with what we are learning. This is just an amazing program. And so we want to, on behalf of Vidwan, Nagaraj sir and me, we want to thank the Indian Octaves for putting this amazing program and series together. I think this is every week you can keep looking forward to more and more great artists coming and providing great input to the audience here. And of course, we want to thank the audience members. We can't see you, but we know that you are there listening and giving great comments and feedback. We're really grateful for that. And of course, Sriji, you just as usual gave so much knowledge and experience in this field. We are very, very fortunate, really, really fortunate. And so please, all of you stay safe and healthy, and God bless you. And now I'll give it back to Sriji for wrapping up this great program with a solo piece and explain that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Since Nagaraj ji asked about this question, I will tell you a simple concept. Like if you're a musician, you can follow that. A korvai. This is a legendary korvai. Pioneer Subramanian Pillai has played, and it was supposed to have been created by Pudukkottai Dakshinamurthy Pillai. That korvai, very in Adi Talam, in Chatusra Nadai, it is like this very simply. Tak, taka taka jona tak, taka taka jona tak, taka taka jona ta di takita ta dingin natum ta dingin natum ta dingin natum ta. There is nothing in this korvai like a ta. Taka taka jona 1 2 3 taka taka jona 1 2 3 taka taka jona, and then a ottu we call it, or it's just like a joint which has nothing to do with that. Ta di takita 11 ottu and ta dingin natum ta dingin natum ta dingin natum. This is a korvai. Now what is that is like what is the Dakshinamurthy Pillai or pioneers amazing thing what they did with this korvai is how they translated this korvai, the space ta taka taka dinner, there is a space. So when you take this korvai to Tisra Nadai, this will be like an amazing korvai because the way how it displaces. And the taka ding, that space, that's 11, which is like a ottu, will give so much of preparation for the tadi ketadu. That korvai goes like, I won't go step by step, but the end product will be like taka taka jonna kita taka jonna ta taka taka jonna kita taka jonna ta kita taka jonna taka taka jonna ta ka ding kita kita kerat tati kita tum kerat tati kita tum kerat tati kita ta kita taka jonna tang ding kita kita taka jonna tang ding kita kita taka jonna tang ding kita ka ding kita kita kerat tati kita tum kerat tati kita tum kerat tati kita tum ta tang ding kita 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 ka ding kita kita kerat tati kita tum kerat tati kita tum tati kita tum. That simple korvai takes this form. So I will end with this korvai playing in the mridangam. So I will thank again the Indian Octaves, and then Chandy sir, thank you very much for accepting. I know that you are a very private person, but I requested you to do this and you agreed and came and do that. So thank you very much for you. Yeah, Nagaraj ji, as usual, we are like very close friends, and and again as a great vidwan and coming being here, it gives a nice what you call validity for what I am doing. So thanks for coming and doing that. Okay, adukku munnadi I will just play a big mora. This mora is also a very classic pioneer mora with a complicated fingering. Janatakatam. So it will be like a chapu, a ti, and a ta, and a ti. That fingering janatakatam. Janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. So there is a big mora and korvai. I will play and stop that. But this mora will start like a 1/16th note after. Janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. Taritharikatake janatakatam. And some people will play jan. You can do that, but the janatakatam, that fingering is one of the classical fingering of arachapu and ti combination by the great masters. So anyway, I will take leave. I will put my mridangam on, and then thank you very much again, everybody, and just enjoy this mora korvai, and then listen to great masters play this. It's something. It's like a passed on for more than 100 years for us. These two materials, what I'm going to play. So the Janatakatam fingering. So the Janatakatam fingering. So there is a, you have to do the transition. So
That was very wonderful, Anna. Thank you, Indian Octaves, and thank you all for watching. And it will be available. You can watch it later too. Thank you.
Thank you and good night. Have a safe night.